Hi everyone, it's John. Long time no see. I've been in absentia for a while. I had a really productive Christmas break. I know most people have been back from Christmas break for a while, and so have I. But I did a lot of reading, but I had every intention of catching up on book review writing as well. But just every day I would sort of get up and just read all day and never really got around to the book reviewing. So that's why I haven't really had anything to say for the past 5 or 6 weeks, I guess. But I've written a few, and we'll try to be better about seeing some of you every Tuesday. One of the books that I finished over Christmas break is something maybe some of you are familiar with via TV. Maybe some of you have actually read the books, but I'm actually interested in getting some opinions about this if anyone actually wants to share. This is, I forgot which volume this is. I want to say it's number 12, but this is The Raven and the Foregate by Ellis with these, the recognizable art of the Brother Cadfael series. There are, I think, 21 of these. Ellis Peters she died in the 90s. She wrote these over a period of about 20 years, about one a year, from the late 70s until when she passed away. And from everything I've heard about the books, you can read them in any order. So I just picked up a random one day. And they are about a monk by the name of Cadfael who lives in 12th century England, and he basically solves crimes. It's not usually my standard reading fare, but I have read a lot of really heavy stuff over the past several months, and I'm getting more and more excited by the idea of occasionally taking a break from that and reading something like this. But for a few reasons, it was a less than pleasurable reading experience. So I just want to talk about the book a little bit, and then, like I said, ask for some opinions at the end of the video. I had heard about the Brother Cadfael series for years and years on the BBC, the BBC series that they made with Derek Jacobi, who played Brother Cadfael, and I never really got around to watching it. I'm not even sure today that I've seen a full episode of it. But supposing it was the kind of series you could just jump in anywhere, that's what I liked. You didn't have to start with episode 1. I thought that I would pick this up since I needed a break from some of the other sort of more lumbering things that I've been reading. So what is this book about? I promise it is sort of a murder mystery. I won't give any spoilers away in case you are interested in reading it, but The Raven at the Foregate, which is what this one is called, it takes place over Christmas holiday, which is when I read it, of 1141, the year 1141, which is when King Stephen and Empress Matilda, for those of you who are not up on your 12th century English history, were fighting over the throne of England. It was a period called the Anarchy. Of course, Stephen eventually wins, and that's why you don't have a Queen Matilda. But Queen Matilda, also known as Empress Maud, by the way, she always went by Maud. So this is sort of the political backdrop of the novel, which is relevant for what goes on in the novel. The priest has died in this little town where Cadfael is, and they have to go out and find a new one. and they bring back this guy called Aelnoth. Nice medieval English name for you. And Aelnoth moves in. He's going to be the new parish priest for this tiny little community. And he's accompanied by a housekeeper and her nephew by the name of Bennett. But Aelnoth quickly alienates almost everyone at the Foregate by being overly strict. He is, although this was really common back in the Middle Ages, he was physically abusive to the children in his charge. They would have really thought nothing of that back then, but this being written in the 80s, we are supposed to be offended by that, and rightly so. And on another occasion, he even refuses to stop praying his own sort of oblations and his own little house where they set him up to help a dying infant who needs attention and needs it quickly. And the infant actually ends up dying because he refuses to stop praying. So he seems like he could be a shady character, right? Aelnoth ends up dead. That's not the mystery. The mystery is finding out who did it. The fact that he ends up dying is not too big of a surprise, since he hasn't exactly made too many friends from the way that he's treated people. And so Brother Cadfael is kind of the one in charge of sniffing out what has happened here. Everyone suspects Bennett, who is the housekeeper's sort of brooding and dark nephew, but that actually ends up being a mistake. And like I said, I don't want to spoil anything or give anything away, but let's just say when the mystery is finally solved, I kind of felt like groaning and pulling my hair out a little bit, since it wasn't too much in the way of a mystery, and it wasn't very exciting. I'll just sort of leave it there, let it lay, and hopefully I haven't said too much about the plot or the summary to dissuade you from reading the book if you were interested in it in the first place. So, when I say heavy reading, I mean, in addition to reading a lot of nonfiction, I also read a lot of literary fiction, classics, and stuff like that. You can sort of scroll through my video history and see the kinds of things I review. And maybe for that reason, the prose here in this little book really felt plodding and flat. It's not the fictional literary prose that I'm used to at all. At least with this particular novel of the 20, like I said, that she wrote, this isn't something that I really picked up and enjoyed reading. It kind of felt like a chore to finish, even though it was supposed to be fun. Nevertheless, any historical fiction set in 12th century England, automatically at least gets 2 out of 5 stars just for existing. By the way, that's exactly what I gave it on Goodreads, just in case anyone cares about star ratings anymore. I know an increasingly unpopular rating system. I still have a place for it, but that's just me. I had the grand idea in my mind, mostly because it was medieval fiction, that I would sort of buy all 20-odd volumes and read them back to back. But I'm glad I didn't. I bought one, I was abstemious, I read it, and it ended up being a very sort of lackluster experience for me. So I might want to read others, but I sort of want to watch some of the BBC series first too, and maybe talk to some of you guys and gals about what you think of it. Are there better Ellis Peter Brother Cadfael mysteries out there? They're all about the same length. They all revolve around some sort of crime. I can't imagine them being of widely varying quality, but I guess it's possible. If you have any other opinions about the books, or the BBC series, or just any ideas about what might be a good idea to read for someone who, as far as fiction goes, reads almost nothing but classic canonical fiction. Not classical in the sense of Greek and Roman, but authors whose names have sort of worked themselves into a canon of well-known pieces. If you have any recommendations for something of a bit lighter fare, please let me know. I would be curious. I love medieval history, so I've also picked up a few novels of, well, I don't want to, they're buried under several of their books, but someone by the name of Sharon K. Pinman, who's written a scad of books, even one on the exact same topic, historically speaking, of the contest between King Stephen and Empress Maud. So I might read that eventually. I picked up a few of the Sharon K. Pinman novels, but I don't necessarily need medieval fiction. Anything that's well written, interesting, but historical fiction always sort of had an attraction for me for whatever reason. But if you have any opinions, please let me know. Just my passing thoughts on The Raven and the Foregate by Ellis Peters. And I will see you, hopefully, next Tuesday. Bye.